All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Guides for Small Businesses podcast. I'm Paul Warthell, and I'm joined by Ken Tecker of Changescape Web and Ian Cannell from Outsource Marketing. And today we're talking with a true SEO expert. Manick Bhan is the founder and CTO of Search, which is an all-in-one SEO platform, and it's used by agencies and enterprise brands like Shutterfly and Link Graph, which is an SEO, mission-driven SEO and digital marketing agency. He's been working in the SEO space for over a decade. He has built 8-figure SEO companies, and he recently launched the first SEO AI automation tool of its kind, Auto SEO, which is awesome. He's a public speaker with past experience speaking at Brighton SEO, AdWorld, and the Traffic and Conversion Center or Summit. He presents on all kinds of topics, including SEO, software development, and AI, among other things. So, Manick, let's jump in. So, first, I guess I'm going to go right to the point. What is your secret to outranking competitors in local SEO, which is different?
Okay. Yes, you going right in for the good stuff. So, okay. In local SEO, the secret to local SEO that I've learned is that it's holistic. And what a lot of people don't fully appreciate is that the same ranking signals that Google's using for web, a lot of them are at play as well in the local maps as well. So things like building backlinks are actually a ranking signal for local. Things like what you do on your website, specifically, we actually ran an experiment where we didn't touch the GBP at all. We added NLP information, schema markup, and optimized the homepage, which was linked to from the Google Business Profile, and we saw a massive ranking improvement. That was interesting because not everyone fully appreciates that. Obviously, the website is one of those data sources that Google's using for local rankings, right? So what we do to the website does influence the Google Maps. So, I mean, I shouldn't say it's a secret, but because I've been preaching this and teaching this for now many, many years, but I call it the exact holistic SEO framework, and it stands for X is user experience and behavior, A, authority, C, content, T, technicals. When you just kind of optimize all four of those key areas together, you'll see massive improvement. And with Auto, we're able to do that kind of in a very turnkey way.
Now, building on that, if I can ask real quick, how important is it to link between your Google Business Profile and content on your website through posts and things like that?
I would say in the posts, specifically, the linkage between the post and the website, not important. It is important, though, that you're publishing posts that include the keywords you're trying to rank for. We actually published a case study, I think last week, where we did nothing besides GBP posting, Q&A optimization, and we answered some reviews. But primarily it was the GBP posts, and we saw massive improvement in rankings. But what's interesting is that we've actually learned that not all local businesses rank the same way. There are different ranking signals for different types of businesses. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
so, like a law firm in Google Maps doesn't rank the same way that a coffee shop does. And this blew my mind. You know what, guys, what we did about a month ago, I told my team, let's load up like 20, 25 businesses and let's check their heat map rankings every hour for 2 weeks. And it was a huge GeoGrid, okay? So we were tracking the rankings every hour for 2 weeks straight. So that's a lot of updates. We did it in, I think, like 10 different cities. And each city we selected, I think, around 5 businesses in different verticals. So like some were pharmacies, some were coffee shop, pizza, law firm, roofer. And guess what we found out? There is a massive volatility to rankings in maps, and it depends on the time of day, and it depends on the day of the week. And I have all these charts now, guys. I'm going to publish them very soon. And cool. what that taught us is that ranking in maps is different depending on your business and depending on your market. And to that point, what we've noticed is the GBP posts, they work really well for certain businesses like dentists, like service businesses, more so than they do for businesses like roofers. So that was pretty interesting. And you might like ask yourself, like, well, okay, I focus on XYZ niche. Maybe I focus on like dog groomers, right? For dog people here. Well, dog groomers, what are the ranking factors for dog groomers? I can't tell you. I don't know. So you know what I do is I hit it over the head with everything. I would just deploy the full holistic framework on every local business, because even if those ranking signals change in a month or 2 months, we don't want to be following outdated methodologies. We want to be delivering the full holistic punch. And because honestly, we might as well do it, right? Because we can hit all the signals at the same time. And so even if there are differences between one business type to another, we can still deliver the exact, framework and optimize all of those needles that Google has.
Yeah.
You know,
I know I saw some stuff recently that, they're thinking that open hours is becoming a big factor for Google Maps rankings. I don't know if you saw that or not, but if you think about it, for pizza or for food related things, obviously, they're going to get probably juiced up during their peak hours, and Google tracks when people, when they're normally busy, right? So,
yeah, Ken, I'll send you the raw data. I think you'll find it fascinating.
Yeah.
What we found is that pharmacies, for example, and this, pizza shops in New York City, like that kind of thing, they were super susceptible to being open and closed. But the roofers, we tested roofers and law firms as well. They actually had almost no impact to whether they were open or closed.
Huh.
So,
wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Awesome.
One thing I've wondered, I don't know if you would have the answer to this, but does Google in their local rankings, do they differentiate between a business that people go to and a like a brick and mortar, and a business like a service area business that goes to the customer?
100%. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head there. That is really important. I think foot traffic, actual people foot traffic, is behind a lot of the ranking differences. And that's one of our theories. And I'll be honest with you, gentlemen, I don't have all the answers, but I'm trying to learn just through testing and experiments. And what we learn, we share, so we can contribute to the advancement of the overall community and the industry and move the whole thing forward. Because what I like to say, and tell me if you guys agree with this, if SEO was a pool, it would be a kiddie pool and it would be bright yellow. It's been pissed in by I'm sorry to say, but it's been pissed in by so many people that are just, they make shit up. And, it's hard to know what's real and what's not real. I'm in a lot of SEO communities, and I see people preaching stuff. And sometimes I'm like, that's cool. I've never seen that thing before. It's weird. I don't know why it would work, but they claim it does. And so we have an experiments team. We spend over $20,000 a month on testing. We bring that in and we test it, and then it fails. And then I do it 15 more times just to make absolutely sure that it fails. And it fails every time. And we're like, all right, this is it. This is done. This has been myth busted. And so I think one of the challenges that we have to overcome as practitioners of the art and the science of SEO is how do we elevate ourselves above the people out there that are actually like the charlatans. And that's why I'm so focused on case studies, because case studies, the proof is in the pudding. You can see the results, the before and afters. If I know what I'm doing, you should be able to take my technology and replicate my case studies. And if you can't, that's on me, right?
Yeah, that sounds like that'd be a good YouTube channel, is myth busting SEO.
There's plenty of it. Yeah. There's a lot of fake facts out there about it. You go to the Moz blog, and it's filled with this old, basically the Google book on how to do SEO, which is totally not the reality of it.
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to touch base with you on and see what your thoughts are is around the zero click. What's going on. Rand Fishkin just released an article, I think July 1st, that talked about the fact that only 35% of people click on organic search results, and there's zero click everywhere, for the other searches, which leads me to the question, which I get. I agree. I've got that same behavior, maybe not in those same ratios, but to me, it seems like if you're a local business, it's critical that you're going to rank in the Google Maps, and you've got to try to win, in the knowledge graph, and in the rich snippets if you can. So what are your thoughts about that, and how can a local business take that on?
Yeah. So the first thing is I respect Rand. In my early days of my SEO career, I was learning from his research and what he was sharing. But I'm also very skeptical about the data like that is being used for these studies. I wonder how many of those clicks are bots versus not bots. How many of those that traffic comes from the rank tracking software that's going to Google searching for the keyword and looking to see who's ranking where. I mean, Search Atlas, we've got 5 billion keywords. We pummel Google daily with millions and millions of requests to get the data. Is that being included in these studies? If it is, it's going to inflate the zero-click behavior, right?
Yeah,
and we can actually see that traffic in Google Search Console. And that's why we have to filter it out when we provide our data in Search Atlas to get rid of all of those bots that are hitting Google and showing up in our analytics.
Yeah.
So, but that said, I think Rand is right that the user behavior that Google is trying to lean us toward is not having to click into the websites, because that requires more cognitive load, right, than just getting our answers from the homepage, the overview page of Google and the SERPs. And I think that's the natural evolution of search, is to deliver more of those experiences and not have to force users to go and read the individual sites. And that experience is really taking place on informational keywords. Because if I want to know what's the capital of Alaska, I don't need to click on a SERP to know the answer. I just need the quick answer.
Right.
And so for sites that built their businesses on informational keyword search, I think that's where, if you're looking at your analytics, you're going to see a drop. But I think we have to also remember that the buying journey is not just about the click. It's an omni-channel experience. It's about building our brands, and it takes sometimes 10 touch points or more before people will activate, right? And so it's okay, like if they don't click, but if they see my brand and I'm the originator of that information, and you see our logo, you see our brand there in the AI overview, that's still a part of the search experience. It's still part of reaching our audience with our message, right?
Yeah.
And Google loves Google.
Say that again?
I said that, and Google loves Google.
Google, yeah. They obviously, their incentives are not aligned with ours, right? They're just in it for themselves, of course. And so, like, when we're building our house of houses, we're building a business we care about, it's important to kind of know where the puck is going. And I think that's why we're talking about this stuff. But I expect in local search, like Google Maps is going to be, it's unique and special for many reasons. One is that Google has the best local data of any online company. I don't care if you're done in Bradstreet or your Apple Maps or whatever it is, Google has the best local data. And Google Maps, because the business owner is on the GMB, Google always have the most authoritative first party data around like local search and Google Maps experiences. So I don't think they're going to have a lot of contest around the search behavior around local. And I think for local businesses, they're relatively insulated from some of the changes that are happening to the AI overview experience. There are AI overviews in Google Maps coming, but they're still pretty much the same. It's just a UI tweak. It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Manick, you shared some case studies or some research that you've been doing. Can you share some more success stories with us about experiments you guys have conducted in relation to local SEO? And thanks for working in a hockey phrase there.
You bet. I'll see if I can keep some color coming there. Well, yeah, so every day, our team is publishing new case studies every day. We are conducting what I think is one of the largest SEO experiments ever conducted. There are over 5,000 sites that have our technology installed on them, and our technology being installed allows us to run these kinds of experiments, crazy case studies at a scale that no one's really, I think, ever done before in SEO. And what we're seeing now, when I built Auto for myself, for our agency first and foremost, and then I gave it to the community. And before we made it public, we had over 100 agencies using it and testing it on their clients. And we didn't want to release it until we were supremely confident that you could take our technology, you could use Auto, and you could replicate our case studies. If you couldn't do that, we were not ready to launch it, because I don't believe in peeing in that kiddie pool, right? I'm like, that's not what we're going to do here. Yeah. So what we did is we had all these agencies take our technology and replicate the case studies, and we were seeing so many people able to replicate what we're doing. I at this event that I'm at, it's Mastermind in Miami for agencies. A large percentage of this community uses our technology, and people keep coming up to me. Yesterday, I had Danny Barrera come up to me and said, "We had a local business. It was on Maps. It was a kind of a zombie business. It got no leads. We installed the technology, and 1 week later, there's over 5 calls coming into the business per week, and then that grows to 10 to 20." At Adam McChesney, and he installed it on one of his sites. It was like a 70-80% lift to the Google business, like insane stuff. So we're getting more and more cases. I think at this point we've got over 130 case studies of auto working, and a lot of those experiments were us trying out one factor. Because the way that we test, guys, is like we don't throw the kitchen sink at it, right? Because then you don't know what part of what you did actually moved the needle. And so if you just throw everything at it every time, you don't learn anything. So in order to learn, you got to take test sites that are static, nothing going on these sites, and you change one variable, and then you observe and you watch and you learn, right? And you do that enough times with each of the different strategies and components, you can figure out the power of any given strategy and the impact that it can have. And so we've been doing that for 7 years now, right? That's led us to know what works. And I think that's the reason why the case studies are so repeatable, because you're doing the exact same thing that we tested in the lab, but you're doing not just one thing, you're hitting it with like 25 different strategies that we know work. And it's not some like fairy dust, guys. It's not like, Manick's magic, like Peter Pan fairy dust that just make you think happy thoughts and the site starts to fly. Like, that's not what it is. Like, it's taking the SOPs that we've created at our agencies that involve all of the fundamentals of SEO and some other things that are more innovative too as well, like semantic SEO and knowledge-based trust and some other stuff. And we're just executing it like in an automated way, super fast, and doing it right. And that's why it works. It really isn't like rocket science. It's just applying the fundamentals properly, making it easy too.
I'm so glad you brought up the point about moving one lever at a time. A lot of times when clients are in distress, it's a new client, they're in distress, they're not getting a lot of leads. They're like, switch everything, or if they see, that their local rankings go down a little bit, they sometimes jump ship and then they start switching too many things. And they actually cause a swifter decline than they would have experienced if they diagnosed what the actual issue was and just fixed that one lever.
Yeah.
That's so spot on. Especially I saw with the helpful content update, the sites that were impacted by that, some of them they literally panicked so much that they were like, we got to redesign everything. We got to change all this stuff. They got wrong advice. And one thing I want to say, if anyone watching this, you have a site and it's in decline, the traffic is falling, you may be tempted to throw the kitchen sink at it, like you're saying, and change a lot of stuff. If you're going to change anything, one thing do not change is totally redesign your site's templates. Okay? Do not do that. If you change the HTML content of the web pages in a dramatic way, and Google can see that the pages are so different, they basically reset the historical data for that URL, and it has to earn its position in search all over again with new clicks and new measurement. And that means you're falling out of the first page of Google, and you have to work your way back into it. And if you do that, your traffic will fall a lot, which is why anytime we see that we redesign a website, typically it's the case that for at least a week or two, there is a drop in traffic because it has to re-earn its place in Google. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, is that true, or have you noticed that being true as well when you're just reskinning a site, like even using the same back-end technology, but just, subtly changing the look and feel of the site? Do you find that to be true as well, Manick?
I think with like subtle enhancements, if you're elevating, let's say like under, I don't know what the percentage is. It's some percentage change. Maybe it's less than 20% change to the HTML. If you're making like a smaller percentage delta over what they had indexed before, then For them, it's just like maybe you added a new content module, or maybe there's a comment box that has new content on it. That's not an HTML change. That's just more content. That's okay. But if you're going in there and you're wholesale switching out the themes and changing the modules and moving the layout around like crazy, Google's going to look at that page and say, this isn't the old page. The old data doesn't apply anymore. We got to reset.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the percentage is. I wish I could tell you the exact percentage, but I'm just not there yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out though.
Cool. So you kind of touched on this before, but what are some of the biggest or maybe most dangerous misconceptions? Dangerous as in, if you do this, it can really hurt your local rankings, that people have about local SEO.
Ooh, misconceptions. I think misconception, I would say, is for a lot of people today still, there's like two things that I see people really over-index on. One is citations. They get like super into citations, and they're like, hey, am I getting 50 citations or 100 citations? It's like, bro, please, like, it's not about the count of citations, guys. Like, even citations as far as a ranking signal are so much muted relative to where they were before. I'm not going to say they don't play a role, because we've seen that they do slightly, but we tested literally every citation vendor, and I can share the results. We tested Bright Local, we tested aggregator networks, we tested a company called Citation Vault, which I would not recommend, to be honest. We tested Whitespark, we tested all these different platforms, and we tried to figure out which one had the best punch and how much it moved the needle. To be honest, guys, it didn't really move the needle that much. So I would say people thinking that local SEO is very citation heavy, they're moving in the wrong direction. That's one. The other one is reviews. Reviews are certainly important, but I think that some people really over-index and focus on just, hey, if we just get more reviews on our GMB, we're going to see our rankings go up a lot. And it's really not like the case. You do need reviews, and you should get them. It's not that you shouldn't. But by all means, if you're just trying to figure out a good local SEO program for that GBP, I would be focusing on the automations around the website and the Google My Business and the posting and the optimization of the content of the Google My Business and the content of the website, and like building backlinks. We've seen this with Signal Genesis, which is a great press release distribution service. Right. Signal Genesis includes the Google My Business in the press releases, and we've seen from running that on hundreds and hundreds of businesses that the rankings improvement can be absolutely incredible. We saw a map that was ranking on average like position 4, a lot of like 2s and 5s in the map. The entire map went to 1s after a press release, and it doesn't happen on every one, but we've seen massive impact from that. A lot of people don't think about backlinks as part of their local SEO program, so just and that's I should also say I'm vouching for the service because we've used it, and it was so effective that we acquired the company, and now we bought them, and now they're a part of Search Atlas Group.
Oh, okay. Did not know that. All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
So is that going to be incorporated into Search Atlas at some point? Or is it going to remain a separate platform?
It's going to be both. Signal Genesis is staying exactly as it is. We're not going to change pricing or anything on the existing users. We're just actually elevating the product. We're making it better. We're doubling the amount of distribution, and we're also adding some new features which are going to, I think, get better results. And we're also bringing it into auto. So if you've got auto on a website, you'll be able to one-click generate and submit a press release for the business. It's fully AI generated. It's submitted to all the distribution networks and automatically indexed as well. So you don't have to do all of that by hand. It's just a fluid process and like quite cheap. Like press releases for under $50, guys. Yeah. Like super cost effective.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had Lane on our podcast in the past. So
Lane's the man. He's actually becoming our CMO now. So he's,
really? Okay.
He's a part of the leadership team. Yeah. And Matt as well. We actually, you probably saw him in the background just walking around.
Okay. All right. Well, tell him I said hi.
I will.
All right. So, in terms of local search, which we're really kind of focusing on today, you talked about omnichannel, which we love because we're huge fans of omnichannel. How do you see local SEO kind of playing with other things like, Google pay-per-click ads or even social media? Are there drivers that you're seeing from people doing paid ads that are providing any uplift for local SEO? Whether it's social posting, whether it's having, a stronger profile on Yelp, for example, or Home Advisor or whatever, Ian, you can probably provide a good source for, dentists. What do you see there?
Well, I think like what I'm seeing is that, so one really interesting vantage point that I get is we serve agencies first and foremost to then serve the businesses. And so we've got agencies that specialize and they focus only on dentists and only on lawyers and only on, tree cutters and dog groomers and kids
Right.
dance studios and everything else, right? And each one of them designs a slightly different program, a marketing program for their local business. And those marketing programs teach us something, which is for that particular kind of business, where their audience lives and how we can reach them, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So for the law firms and how the law firms reach their clients, we see that is like there are many channels there where they can successfully attract and bring their ideal customers to their messaging on their website and convert them. And for other businesses, it's just different. So I wouldn't say that there's a single source of truth for all businesses, but we have seen every marketing channel work for pretty much every, with different businesses. And local service ads is one that I've seen work for a lot of businesses because it is native to the Google platform. And Google, as you guys know, the intent behind search is the highest intent for something. If I go to Google and I type in dog groomer, I want a dog groomer for my dog probably today, or
Right.
I want it now.
Right.
Versus when you're surfing on TikTok or on any other platform where you're kind of passively consuming content in a for you curated feed, that is just not the same level of intent, and that changes the entire equation, right?
Yeah, definitely. Do you see anything with? I'm just curious because we're actually a Yelp advertising partner, and Yelp carries really strong intent as well. Because if you're using the Yelp app, you're looking to make a buying decision. So Yelp SEO is a completely different animal, but it also Yelp tends to rank pretty well in Google searches, with the top lists. And it's also a pretty powerful directory site overall. So what do you see, if anything? I don't even know if you've even really looked at any impact of Yelp, but if you can share anything, I'd love to hear.
I honestly, I haven't focused on that area
Okay.
of SEO. And that's why it's great that we're having conversations like this, because we're all teaching each other and sharing light on elements and aspects of this that are, the search is too big for one man. And even
Sure.
as much as,
Right.
as I can do, I don't
Right.
have all the answers.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, a lot of platforms deliver Yelp local data over Google local data. A lot of in-car navigation systems, a lot of voice search. Amazon and Apple tend to deliver that. Apple Maps historically has delivered Yelp local data, not Google local data. And so look, Google's the 800-pound gorilla and then some. I mean, it's like 92% of all searches are coming through Google, between YouTube image searches and traditional Google search. So, but, it's interesting that there are still some opportunities out there for some secondary channels that might, for particular niches might be very, very powerful.
For sure. And the other thing, guys, like that's a great observation. I always come back to the power of the brand, because ultimately businesses are trying to reach humans. We're trying to connect with people, and the way that we do that is it's a way more interesting and intricate story than just appearing in a single SERP or in a single ad. The power of the brand and the power of building something unique that tells a story, doing something even different, right? A lot of things that I see in marketing, like there's the general rules of thumb, but then there's always the exception to it that breaks the entire wheel, right?
Right.
The standout success stories, and their businesses like, Krispy Kreme, where you're like, these guys, this wasn't a search story. This was a brand story,
Yeah, definitely. All right. Awesome.
Hey, and we've anybody that's done a holistic approach to marketing understands that SEO, when done properly, is like planting a tree. It grows and grows and grows over time as long as you're investing in it, and it bears lots of fruit, and that fruit continues to grow in capacity and as well as return on investment. At least that's what we find, and we found that very consistently with our clients. But do you have a particular approach, or would you recommend a particular approach, Manick, for local businesses to keep ranking higher? Like just to view what should they be doing from a long-term perspective, even with all the algorithm changes and different factors that continue to make it challenging to continue that course.
For sure. The one thing that I see that I think local businesses under index on is that they don't produce enough new content or new landing pages and try to attract more of an audience and expand their reach, right?
Right.
A lot of them they can do the technical optimizations and whatnot, but there's an important equation. I call it's just the simplified Google ranking equation. Organic traffic equals ranking potential times ranking signals. Ranking potential comes from having content that Google can show you on Google search for different keywords. If you have 0 pages, your organic traffic is 0. If you have 1 page, your organic traffic is low. If you've got more pages, your organic traffic can be higher. So one thing that every business needs to do is to actually figure out its audience on search, creating content to put in front of them. So one thing that we're always trying to do to empower people using auto and search outlets is how do we get you to make it easier to publish content to the site, whether it's a blog content or new geo-targeted landing pages or new service pages for the website. We got to push more content onto that website. And by doing that, we show up for more keyword search that boosts our ranking potential, but it also boosts our ranking signal. And part of the ranking signal is our authority. And Google actually has a way of measuring that has nothing to do with backlinks or reviews. It's what they call knowledge-based trust. So let's say it's like a plumber. By creating content on our website about the plumbing niche, about emergency plumbing, about the different kind of gaskets. I don't know. I don't know enough about plumbing, but you guys know what I mean. Right? If you can master the niche with your content, you boost your knowledge-based trust, and you will actually be able to see there are sites that make it to page 1 of Google, with topical authority alone, with no backlinks at all. Actually, one of my case studies I published last week is a client that we did that for. By just building topical maps and deploying local topical maps for that brand, we were able to get them to page 1 of Google with a DR of an Ahrefs DR of like 1, right? Which means like almost no backlinks. So
Yeah.
that's, it's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah. Wow. So what do you see as importance in terms of local content for local search? Location pages, information about, local charities that you're working with or public events or, anything like that. I mean, obviously we're also huge proponents of creating more and more content, but I think one of the things that's typically overlooked is local content that needs to be added to the website.
Local content is, I think, some of the easiest content to rank because most of the content out there is general and intended for a large audience. But if you're creating localized content about, here I'm in Miami. So if you're looking for like Miami roofers, but even more specific, Miami commercial roofing, Miami siding, Miami whatever, the more local you get with those keywords in those pages, the more likely you can show up on Google search for those keywords and get that traffic. So I think to your point there, Ken, getting those local landing pages, those local service landing pages, getting those on the website, we've actually seen, like if you drop the heat map and you look at the rankings in a large area. So if we're in Miami, being able to look as far north as like Boca Raton or as far south as, Key Largo or something. If you have those service pages on the site that include those cities, you will see your rankings will improve in those parts of the heat map. Which are really far from the center of your business. You can actually boost the rankings by having that content on the website. So strategies like that, strategies like building a glossary of terms. A lot of people don't talk about it, but glossary of terminology is a really powerful way to add the vocabulary of your niche to your website.
Yeah.
And the way that we've approached it is when we figure out what the keywords are that you're trying to rank for, what we try to do is rebuild the knowledge graph of information around that keyword that Google has, and take that knowledge graph of terminology of what they call entities, is their term for it, and put that as a glossary on the website. And by putting that on the website in a factual way, we can really, really amp up the knowledge base trust of the website, and it will rank a lot better in Maps and on Google search. It's kind of a hack, but it works.
Yeah. Awesome.
So we talk about holistic approach, and you talked about a holistic approach to ranking and SEO and marketing. So do you have a definitive list of preferred tools and software to help with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much the only tool that we need to use for this anymore is just Search Atlas and Auto. Every important component of the holistic SEO framework that we identify, like, we've got a huge engineering division, so we just build it into the product. We used to, once upon a time, we were users of Ahrefs and SEMrush, and we're using Surfer SEO, and we're using Pitchbox for outreach, and we're using Screaming Frog, and all these advanced, like, expensive crawling tools like Botify, which are like $25,000, $50,000 a year. And our total tech stack for all of our tools, and I'm not including like HubSpot, which we were paying $5,000 a month for just for that, right? Just the SEO stack was like probably like almost $5,000 to $8,000 a month, right? And like, yeah, like we paid it because it gave us an edge, and we were able to get better results, and we were using it to deliver a more holistic framework. But as we kept going with it, every time our team grew, we were having to upgrade this account to the enterprise plan. They just gouged us. So that's why, like, basically 5 years ago, we started building our platform for ourselves first. And now, to be totally frank, and I want to be authentic and real with you guys, but we really only use Search Atlas now. We don't need to use any of the other tools, because for the ones that actually matter, like Ahrefs is actually a really good platform with their backlink data and their authority scoring system. Moz, domain authority, we have the API and we use it, but it's terrible. And SEMrush, their site authority scores are garbage. But Ahrefs' domain rating is very good. And Majestic has also some really interesting metrics like trust and citation flow. So we actually use those data sets from those companies and give them in Search Atlas. But we don't need to actually use the platforms themselves, but we just use those specific metrics that we found are important.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
getting rowdy over there, huh?
Well, you mentioned hockey earlier, so
a couple wild cards here.
So one of the things that with the rush of AI that's been happening is that I'm starting to hear a lot of people talk about their tools, and even SEOs are saying SEOs now set it and forget it. I think that's really dangerous. I think there are components, there are objectives that you can accomplish with to a large extent with that. But can you talk about what your thoughts are about the set it and forget it mentality? That's I think it's pissing in that kiddie pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of like AI plus SEO tool. There's a lot of companies getting into that messaging of like, we're the AI plus whatever. And a lot of these tools are like, they're not great. And a lot of people claim that, hey, this is like an AI SEO system, but it's not. It's some solution. It's just like it's a hack, and it doesn't even really work. And it's hard to know what's real and what's not real. And so what I would advise people to do is follow a community of people that's pursuing excellence in this field of study. And potentially follow multiple communities, multiple people that are sharing real case studies and real research. If someone is talking about, like, for example, people for a long time thought local SEO and Yext, all you got to do is just buy Yext, and that's local SEO, right?
Right.
Right. And
yeah.
And like, that's like 3% of it or less, right? So it's dangerous. To your point, it's dangerous, and I think there's a big education gap between the people that really understand it and the ones that don't. What I would say is, if you have a digital marketer or an agency that's following a reductionist approach to SEO that's not doing all of it right, they will always be out competed by the guys who are putting in the effort and taking a more comprehensive, more holistic, more advanced, more delivery-oriented approach to SEO, I'm a big fan of what I'm calling dynamic SEO, which is, it's not about AI actually, right? It's not. It's really not about AI. It's about automation, and it's about innovation through a new paradigm of SEO where we're able to change the website dynamically using technology, programmatically, every day or every week. But that's not an AI story. That is a unlock about how the algorithm works and how we can improve our websites for Google. And AI is a part of how we get there, but it's not the whole thing. It's not about AI.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, AI is not 100% accurate, nor are humans, so I think it's still really healthy to have people with strong, deep SEO understanding evaluating. Look, AI is helping you get there a whole hell of a lot faster. And it's giving you ideas about things that you never even would have uncovered because there are just too many distractions in the world. So it's a massive productivity gain, and it's actually liberating really good SEOs to work on more important things.
I think that's exactly right. It's not about, some people think that like it's about replacing people. It's not really about replacing people. It's about up-leveling them. It's about allowing them to think and function at a higher level, to be more strategic, to be more creative, at the agency level, to communicate with their clients, to talk to them more, and to also step into that strategist role where we're looking at their business strategy, their business model, the overall comprehensive approach they're taking to search, and advising them at that level, not manually updating meta descriptions and titles and going in and fixing image alt text and copying and pasting content, loading and CMS, all this stupid, painful drudgery. It's like just you want to gouge your eyes out doing this kind of work. It's about eliminating that type of stuff and just allowing us to be more creative.
Yeah, which that work is important, but if you can get it taken care of very efficiently with the right tool set and having somebody oversee that's actually being done properly, is huge. Yes. So yeah. Okay.
And this,
I look.
You go ahead.
I was going to say just that it's like a spaceship, or it's like a Lamborghini, but the Lamborghini doesn't move until you sit down in the seat and put your foot on the accelerator and grab the wheel. Right? There's got to be someone in there who understands what they're doing, and there are levels to that, as you guys know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You still need a good operator to make the tool work well and to get the most out of it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Manick, this leads really well into the next question, which is pull out your crystal ball, which is really just looking at the trends that you're observing. What are your expectations for the future, whether it's near future, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, which might be too far out, as we all know, but what are your expectations for the future of local SEO?
I think local SEO will probably change less than other aspects of SEO and digital marketing. Given that I think the local maps experience is already pretty dialed in. The product doesn't really need to change. The experience is already really good. I think what we'll see, what we're going to see is Google's going to be a fast follower. They're not going to be an innovator. They're not going to be the tip of the spear. Other companies like Perplexity AI, ChatGPT, Claude, like the ones that specifically ChatGPT and OpenAI, they want to move into the search direction. They want to build a search product. And a lot of people out there are very like fatalistic about this. They're like, oh my God, like Google's not going to be the dominant search engine. People are using ChatGPT instead of Google. Wrong. Like if you look at user behavior, actually, the amount of people using ChatGPT is like down by like 40, 50% versus where it was. It's like any shiny penny. Like things have their course and, a hype wave, and then people like come back to their senses. So I actually don't see like ChatGPT really competing with Google over search. I think Google also, remember, like they've perfected vertical search for like hotels and travel and every like niche of search that they could. They built a unique experience to make it better and to make it faster and easier. And they've been doing that, guys, for like what, 20, 30 years. So
Yeah.
like they put the time in. ChatGPT, like they've got the data that Google now has that they're servicing in SERPs, but they don't have the specialization in each of the verticals, and they also don't own the market. 92% already owned by Google. So I think we're going to see companies like that, like try to say, hey, we're the next Google, we're the next big thing, but to improve and evolve upon the question and answer experience, which is what Google fundamentally is a UI UX tweak, and Google will simply take what other people are doing and seems to be working or seems to be good or better than what they have, and they will replicate it, but they will be fast followers and not the ones that are radically recannibalizing the search experience. I'm not going to do that because they don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually don't think that too much of that is going to change. I do think that SEO, people are going to be more focused now about how do we get our content into the large language models, because that's not an automatic thing. And so figuring out how does SEO also now include more than just Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo, but like how does it also encompass the LLMs? That's going to be a really fascinating new frontier of search, is how do we also create visibility in the large language models?
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that evolves. But yeah, so we've talked about this holistic approach that needs to be taken in automation, and I think something people need to understand, and we've kind of talked about it in other podcasts, is a lot of business owners they'll go find some free tool and they're going to do something themselves. It's like, first of all, if you're using a free tool, it's probably not that good. And second of all, you have to understand the data that comes out of there. If you don't have an understanding of the data, you're going to make bad decisions.
For sure.
So
yeah, I don't use any free tools, to be honest, because you're right. Like part of the economic equation is by creating value for users and charging for it allows you to reinvest and keep innovating. If Search Atlas was a free tool from day one, we would never have been able to get here, right? So you do kind of get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
And then you have to take the time to learn the platform as well and understand what it's telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, when you look at everything that's inside a Search Atlas. I mean, all three of us on this podcast, and Jeff, who's normally with us but couldn't be here today, we all have been doing this for dozens of years, and it's awesome to have a tool that brings it all together. And I love what you guys are working on to create that all-in-one experience, because it's so needed. I mean, HubSpot started it, with just a digital marketing platform overall, which was revolutionary, and it brought about this whole rush of digital marketing becoming so important. And even if people weren't using the tool sets, they're like, oh my God, we can actually finally start getting some of this stuff working together. And then you've got tools that provide CRM and operational experience and whatnot, like high level. And now you guys are coming on strong, have been strong for the all-in-one SEO. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that.
No more jumping between software platforms. Oh, I got to I have to do this over here and I have to do this over here. And it's great that it's all in one place.
Yeah, guys, that's amazing feedback. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's the kind of feedback that really inspires me and the team to keep going. And just so you guys know what our North Star is, right? Well, our North Star is we're trying to make search a channel that more people can become successful in, and make it more productive and more efficient and easier to get things done. Because at the end of the day, the way that we should measure our success as operators and marketers and agency owners is how many businesses can we change the lives of that person? How much of an impact can we have on our local community or on the people we care about through our craft and our work? And the only way we can have an impact is if we can drive positive ROI. Business owner gives us $1, we're able to create $10 of value for them. If we're charging $10 and they're getting $1 of value, obviously that leads to churn, and we don't keep that client around, or that business. We hurt that business when we do those things. That's why the kiddie pool is bright yellow, because people have been doing that for a long time. So the way I see it is what we're all here to do is we're here to help those businesses become more successful by using our creativity, by using our tools, by using our marketing systems. And what we're just trying to do here is we're just trying to say, we figured out a lot of stuff in search that we can make turnkey and simple and easy. And if you follow this simple solution, this simple process that really anyone can do with the right focus and the right care, can learn it. And we can also now go forth and change the lives of those business owners. Like my personal goal, why I'm doing this, it's not for me really about the money, or I like the color purple or whatever. I'm doing this because I'm trying to impact 1 million businesses. That's our big, hairy, audacious goal. That's what we want to do. And the only way we can get there is we have to build a solution that can drive results and actually verifiably create a case study machine for every single person that uses it, that they can all be as successful as we were deploying and creating this technology, so that they can go and be the catalyst to get those 1 million business owners in the world to use this, to see the gains, to get results, to then positively impact their families, their lives, their communities. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
One thing,
fantastic.
Chat, listen, Otto has helped me do is, even if I spend the same amount of time on a particular client, I get more done.
Yeah.
Because I'm not jumping between platforms. It's all right there.
Yeah. Well, and you're not having to spend time on really mundane tasks like we talked about,
Exactly.
like, oh, I've got to update the meta description here. It's like, it's a piece that needs to be done, but man, why suck up somebody's intellectual capacity with something that, really is low hanging. So.
Yeah. I mean, isn't this been like a big theme? Like we're all hearing tons and tons about automation and robots taking over, certain types of jobs and certain type of work that we were doing. And our goal should always be to become the highest versions of ourselves, the most creative, the most visionary, the most productive, the most capable, and not to spend our time. Like if you find yourself, if you're listening to this, you're like, yesterday I spent 7 hours doing this really mundane work, right? To deliver results for my clients. I wouldn't say don't deliver, don't not do that, but find a better way to do that. Find a system that you can deploy and implement that will get them the results without you doing that monotonous, really, really tedious work, because we're in the new era of digital marketing. It is upon us now. And the automation technologies that are leveraging AI, Search Atlas is one of them, and GHL is another. And I think if you put these platforms together, GHL is a phenomenal activation platform, so powerful at activating and retaining. And I would say if you install GHL on a business's website, you have done them a great service, because now they're going to grow, right?
Yeah.
If you install Auto on a business's website and you operate it, you've done them a great service, because they're going to grow.
Right.
So it's about us kind of moving into that world, I think.
Yeah. Well, if you're getting more results, more people hitting your website because of your SEO efforts, you still have a leaky bucket. You're not really ultimately solving the problem. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the two technologies hand in hand, are just, they're massive.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yep.
I think we're also going to see, there's a company that is waiting to be born in the space right now, the next Salesforce of digital marketing. And what that company is going to do is it's going to understand how to build technology around the business at the epicenter, and really understand that business, its search space, its opportunity online, and it's going to automate the performance marketing system around that business. And that is, I'm working very hard with our team of people every day to make sure that that's us, so that we can deliver that product and service. SEO is just the beginning of where we're going. Obviously, it's where I love SEO. It's been a big part of my life for a long time, and I know you guys too. You guys love SEO as well, right?
Yeah.
But PPC, like you talked about the local ads, that's another powerful way to create positive outcomes for businesses where we can really help them grow fast. We're already working on auto PPC, so that will be coming soon. And
wow.
importantly, like if you guys have run Google ads, when you get a call from a Google ad rep, what are they going to tell you? They're going to say,
increase your budget.
And more.
yeah, spend more, increase your CPCs. Well, like you're limited by budget, like add another couple $100 to that daily budget, right? That's all they do. And they're not even employed by Google. They're employed by third-party firms. They're reading from a script. You can't give the keys to the fox, right? To let them into the, hen,
The hen house.
whatever the expression
Hen house
is.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
the hen
yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got to have our own technology, right? That we know serves and optimizes for the business at the center. And that is never going to be the marketing platforms. It's got to be a third-party platform that cares and optimizes the equation for the business and not for Google and not for Facebook and not for YouTube. It's got to optimize for the business. So
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, Manick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Google ads are a pain.
For sure.
But no, this is a great topic. Mike, thanks for being here. Really appreciate your insights. Any final thoughts from anyone?
Final thoughts, I would just say, guys, just remember the why behind why you got into this business to begin with. Work toward building a better business for yourself and for your clients every day. Don't get lost in the sauce. Don't over-index on the wrong stuff. I would say focus on building a better business and having a bigger impact in the businesses you serve. And if that's your North Star, I think you're going to see the greatest success coming in the next 1 year, where the automation technologies and the AI are going to be like the wind in your sails if you have that orientation. So that would be my advice that I would give anyone listening to this.
Okay. Awesome.
What's
the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
I'm an easy guy to get in touch with. Find me on Facebook, add me on Facebook, Manick Bhan, easy to find, or Instagram. Yeah. And I'm also I answer all my own messages. So if you connect with me, it might take me some time, but I will get back to you.
Yeah. I can vouch for that. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
You guys rock. And thanks for doing this. You guys have a great community. You guys have a great show. And thanks for empowering businesses and digital marketers to become a little smarter at what they do, especially tell the local SEO story, because it's going to be so important over the next couple of years here. So keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
You taking us out, Paul?
No, I'm going to let you do that. You do that.
Oh,
so
okay.
well.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Manick, for being our special guest today, even when you're at a live event. So that's awesome. We really appreciate that. And you got great noise cancellation on your headphones there. So good job. And thank you to our listeners and our viewers for joining us today. Tell your friends, your colleagues, other businesses about this so that we can start to spread the word even further. And until next week, guys, keep calm and market on.
Thanks.
Love it.